Hi everyone, this is our channel, Meet the Real Story. Please like, share and subscribe.
There are different kinds of pranks. Some are funny, some are boring, and some have serious consequences. My small innocent prank turned into a horror movie. Let me tell you why. My name is Anita, and I'm 14 years old. I live with my parents and my brother Victor. Victor is 3 years younger than me. We are also close friends. I love reading, writing stories, and most of all, playing pranks on people. I just love to do it. Victor was the cowardly sort, afraid of his own shadow, so I always played pranks on him. His terrified reactions always made me laugh. Whenever he would try to play a prank on me in retaliation, though, I would always see through it immediately. My parents used to spend Halloween at my aunt's house, so, one day, I decided to scare him by dressing up like a ghost and hiding in his closet. When he came home and called for me, I didn't reply. He entered his room and opened his closet to hang his coat, only to be confronted by me jumping out and screaming boo in his face. He leapt backwards, wide-eyed and terrified. He screamed like a girl. I was rolling on the floor, laughing. If he wasn't such a coward, I wouldn't have had any fun at home. One day, he joked, your pranks are going to be the death of me. When he turned 17, Victor received a scholarship to the state university. I saw him off with tears in my eyes, hugged him, and gave him a present marked "Don't open until you arrive at your dormitory." Shortly after he arrived, he video called. He had blue powder all over his face and looked hilarious. He said, "Very funny, ha ha ha. You have to stop these pranks, sis. We're too old for this stuff now." Oh, how I missed him. I laughed. With him gone, everything was so boring. When October came and Halloween was only a few days away, the doorbell rang, and I opened the door to find a letter lying on our doorstep. I opened it and found a picture of Victor. His face had been beaten black and blue. He looked horrible. I opened the letter and read, "Victor got involved in drug dealing and now owes us a lot of money. If you don't pay off his debt as soon as possible, we will kill him, and you too. Do not call the police, or he will only die sooner." Panicked, I called the thug's phone number, written at the end of the letter, but there was no answer. Victor was such a sweet and innocent guy. I couldn't believe he had gotten himself involved in drug dealing. I thought of calling my parents, but I decided not to, because they would definitely call the police. So I spent the next 2 days thinking. Then, the home phone rang, and I felt my heart sink to my feet. I slowly picked up the receiver. "Do you have the money?" the caller asked in a cold voice. "I need more time. I don't have that much money," I pleaded. The voice replied, "You seem to think we are joking. Okay, the next photo we send you will be that of your brother's dead body." He said that. Then he hung up the phone. My stomach wrenched. I felt sick and tried to call my parents, but I couldn't reach them. The next day, I heard a knock on the door, and when I opened it, there was another note lying on the doorstep. It read, "The angel of death comes today." My parents were at my aunt's. I was alone and didn't know what to do. I closed all the windows and curtains and locked all the doors. I turned off the lights. At the stroke of midnight, I heard a noise outside my house. I peeked out a window and saw a man, all in black, in my front yard. He was walking towards the back of the house. Shortly after that, I heard the back door open. I ran and hid myself in the closet. Eventually, I heard my bedroom door open slowly. I heard footsteps walking around my room, as if the intruder were searching for me. Suddenly, my closet door opened. I panicked, pushed the masked intruder, and dashed out of my room and down the hall to the dining room. Victor's decapitated head was on the table. Oh my God. My last thought before I fainted was that if the drug dealers were going to kill me too, just as they promised. Goodbye, life, I thought. When I woke up, I saw my parents and Victor, dressed in black. They all began laughing hysterically. Angry, I snapped. "What's going on? Why are you all laughing? This isn't funny." Victor confessed between laughs. "It was just a prank, sis." And you should have seen the look on your face when I opened the closet door. From that day on, I never played pranks on anyone ever again. Hi there. I am Matilda, and I'm 24 years old. My story starts just before Thanksgiving, when I decided to visit and spend a few days with my grandparents. Their house was in an old neighborhood, near a graveyard, that people only whispered about in small circles. But I wasn't interested in all the rumors. I liked to visit graveyards, to enjoy their peaceful landscapes and time-honored history. I was always welcome at my grandparents' house. My granny prepared me the chocolate drink I like. Grandpa baked me the biscuits with his magic recipe. We spent all day talking, laughing, and playing. My father was an archaeologist. He was crazy about antiques, so he had a room like a small museum. He collected a lot of things that were rare in that room. We used to sit in this room, and my grandfather would tell me stories about every antique, except for one painting of an old woman. I used to ask him about it, but he never told me what it was. As I was sleeping in the room, which was next to our little museum, I heard whispering. I opened the door and looked around. It was coming from my father's museum. I searched around the room to find out the source of the voice. I couldn't believe it. The eyes and mouth in the old painting were moving, and I heard, "There's danger in the backyard." I ran, frightened, to my grandparents' room. My grandfather asked me what happened, and I told him. I thought he would mock me, but he brought his gun and went quickly to the backyard. He told me if he didn't return within 15 minutes, I should call the police. Suddenly, I heard shots. I thought that something bad happened to my grandfather, but he entered the house and told us that the thieves ran away. They still wouldn't tell me about the painting, but I don't think I needed an explanation anymore. I like animals because they live in their own little world with specific rules and laws. It's a well-regulated world, free of biased injustice. Every animal knows its role. For these reasons, I enrolled in a veterinary medicine college to get closer to the animal world and learn more about it. But my love for animals almost got me killed, and I will tell you what happened. I'm Talia, and I'm 19 years old. I'm in my junior year of veterinary medicine. I have loved animals ever since I was a young girl, owing to my dad. Dad was a photographer, and therefore, necessarily a world traveler as well. He would take photos of wild animals all over. Not only that, but he would also study animal behavior, and he wrote many books on the subject. He used to say that animals were cute and lovely, even the predatory ones. If you have ever watched their behavior, you would know how amazing they were. I love all animals, except wolves. Dad died from a wolf attack, so I've avoided anything related to wolves ever since. That is, until one day, destiny put me in a dire situation that forced me to face a wolf. We were on a field trip in a nature reserve, studying the impact of keeping wild animals in different environments. We were studying cubs, young foxes, and young wolves. When we got to the wolf study, I became uneasy. All the young animals were cute except for those horrid wolves. The researchers were feeding them food that differed from their normal diet to observe the impact. My professor picked me among various students to study these small wolves, which was a dilemma for me. I was forced to get involved with the wolf study, but once the professor saw how little I actually knew about the wolves, due to avoiding them all my life, he removed me from the study. To be honest with you, I didn't do my best either, so the professor punished me by sending me to a camp in a rocky area near a forest, along with some of my colleagues, to study more about animal wildlife. What a nightmare that turned out to be. To get there, we had to take a long, tiring bus ride on a long, bumpy road. We pitched our tents and divided ourselves into 2 shifts, evening and midnight. Some students would sleep, and the others would stand guard in case of danger. That first night, I was in my tent trying to get some sleep, when I heard someone say, "They're getting closer. They're surrounding us." Terror clutched at my heart. I peeked out of my tent to see what was going on. They shouted, "Keep your tent closed. We'll protect you." Suddenly, I heard a loud, terrifying howl. I heard one of my colleagues shout, "Run! Run for your life! They're gonna kill us!" I was shaking in my tent, and I screamed, "Wait for me!" But no one heard. They had run away at lightning speed, leaving me in the camp alone. It was very quiet outside now, with no one around. Maybe the danger had subsided, I thought. So I peeked out a small slit in my tent to see a wolf standing just outside it, staring me in the eyes. His long, sharp fangs clearly visible, with his snarling lips pulled back from his teeth. I knew he could smell me, even without seeing me. Like a trapped animal with its back against the wall, I grabbed a baseball bat in my hand and jumped out, swinging it wildly in his direction. He backed off. I didn't know that he had brought friends. They were standing, lurking in the trees. Of course. Wolves were pack animals. I suddenly saw many pairs of glinting yellow eyes in the darkness beyond the campfire. I stepped back against my tent. I saw that one wolf stood in the front. He was obviously the pack leader. I was trembling throughout every fiber of my being. I decided to try slowly reaching for a burning stick from the fireplace to ward them off. That was the moment when the pack leader chose to attack. I blocked his jaws with the bat, but his momentum knocked me down on my back. His snarling, fierce-looking teeth loomed in front of me, separated from my soft, tender, vulnerable face only by a slender wood of that baseball bat. I'm going to die, I thought. He attacked me again, this time injuring my shoulder. They were going to leave scars. Then he backed off and prepared to attack again. His pack watched intently, hungrily, with saliva drooling from their mouths. As I lay there bleeding, Dad's death by wolf attack flashed into my mind and triggered a deep, unexpected outrage that these wolves had taken my dad from me. Courage surged through me, and I made an instant decision to stand up and stand my ground and show these wolves who's boss. The pack leader was circling me, looking for an opening to attack again. I was doing the same, patiently waiting for the right moment. When he lunged at me, I was ready. I swung the bat and hit him hard in the ribs. He went down whining. When the rest of the pack saw this, they all backed up, warily. Their leader got up, unsteady, and turned around, and ran into the woods, with his obedient pack following close behind him. I dropped the bat and fell to my knees. I broke into tears. Yet, I felt an immense relief that I had defeated my enemy and was still alive. When my friends eventually worked up the courage to come back to camp, I told them what had happened. After finishing our field trip and returning to college, I was widely known on campus as the Wolf's Bane.